because third-party access is 5 times more likely to have poor cyber hygiene. And when we talk about cyber hygiene, I mean just the basics. When we talk about further measures, that's great. And looking at things and making sure that we are doing the scans and the other aspects. 98% of organizations worldwide work with at least one third party. And most of public safety, most of critical infrastructure, it's inherent. We have vendors and good vendors. I'm not bashing any of them. I'm not bashing the radio folks. I'm not bashing the 911 call delivery or the printer managers. I'm saying that we all could do better, and we have to ask these questions. More than half of all cybersecurity breaches are attributed to supply chain or third party. So really understanding it, that's half. And we've seen it in public safety. We saw the one MSP in Texas that unfortunately was compromised and then affected through them 12 counties that they had VPN access to. Well, they had VPN access to because they needed it as part of their job. My argument was, well, why were they using the same, and could they not have locked it down or notified faster before it spread, right? Those are all things that we could do better. And when we look at the next number, 21% of healthcare data breaches happen as a result of unauthorized access or disclosure. In other words, they shared information. They taped the password to the monitor in a public setting or anywhere. Somebody walked through with a camera and took a picture. You didn't realize that they got your password because it was exposed.
Or maybe you had your FTP server exposed to the internet and had the anonymous user turned on.
Oh, God. Yeah, we see that. All right, digital attack surface. So these are the things that in our world, right, the digital things, the things that we can, with IP addresses, understand and protect. It goes beyond this. There's physical attack surface too, but this is really about, you know, the cameras and the devices and the calling home and the APIs, the other piece.
That includes cloud.
Yeah, so. Yep, absolutely. Most IT monitoring covers this aspect, right? This is the stuff that we would see. And then we go into the next one, we talk about physical attack surfaces. And so that little device there called Insider Threat could be a rubber ducky. It's been available on what, Hack5 since, yeah, for a very long time, for I think, what, $20, maybe 40 now, right? Everything increases. The point is that little device tells the system it's a keyboard. So it gets root access as a keyboard and then has its own easy to write code that anybody could utilize to infect that device or exploit that device, right?
It's, basically do anything you
want. You could do anything.
Arbitrary code execution via keyboard.
And it gives them full access. This is why we don't pick up USBs, and we train folks and we tell them. And then as IT and security folk, we turn off the ports, right? We make it harder for this to happen. And then we plan for when it does anyway. And we really have to look at this because the malicious insider threats, while not as prevalent in public safety as other areas, right, especially corporate world, et cetera, we still have a lot of it that is the intent was not there, right? They didn't intend to do it, but they clicked the link or they picked up the USB in the parking lot, those kind of things. No, really understanding is there, and that speaks right into social engineering. MGM got hacked in 10 minutes, and it cost them, I guess the number was around $138 million. That's a big number. Why? Because somebody was able to talk their way in. Now, we've seen this same attackers go against small counties, right? Why? Because they can. Why? Because they're out for money and MGM didn't pay, by the way, at least to my knowledge. And when we look at this, they're really leveraging the human element, right? They're talking their way in. They're using the fact that we post way too much stuff on social media. So they knew the IT guy for MGM was on vacation. So when he had an emergency, quote unquote, and needed to get access because he had forgotten it, somebody was kind enough to let him have access. Well, it wasn't him, it was the bad guys. And then they took out the network, right? That's their goal. And so this is always going to pose a challenge, both on the digital and the physical side, right? Because if the same guy had, one of our white hat hackers used to do pen testing, physical pen testing, by having a very, kind of rumpled button down shirt that said printer support or something on it, and walked in with a what do you call it? The thing with the clipboard, walked in with a clipboard. The other thing that always works is walking in with a ladder. People let you in if you walk in with a ladder. Why? Because you're there to fix something. Well, if you're there to hack something, it works too, right? So we really have to be aware of that. We have to talk about those and set up policy to make sure that we're still checking the credentials of the guy who's carrying too much stuff, like a ladder. Anyway. And as we moved into Internet of Things, two important statistics here. 69% of companies have IoT devices that outnumber the rest of the devices on the network. In other words, more devices in IoT than PCs, than they're used to doing the work. Because we have refrigerators and microwaves and HVAC systems and the controls, right? All of those. Thermostats, yeah. Only 16% of companies have IoT attack surface visibility, so they never even know if that thermostat was owned. And that's also where we see a lot of data leaks and other things. It comes because there's so many devices on the planet, 70 billion, by